We are here to finish what you started.
4 families.
No sentence or punishment will ever come close to the justice Xana, Ethan, Kaylee, and Maddie deserve.
Given one chance.
There's no way to ever fully describe the weight of losing my sister, my best friend.
To speak to a killer.
You're evil.
Sociopath, psychopath, murderer.
You're a joke. Complete joke.
Their emotional messages of pain.
He took them from me, my friends, my people who felt like my home.
Of acceptance.
Brian, I'm here today to tell you I have forgiven you.
Of moving forward.
After today, I wash my hands of you, and you are no longer a thing. You don't deserve our good memories that we have.
The man who took away their children, their friends, their siblings.
Parents who took their children to college in a truck filled with moving boxes had to bring them home in hearses lined with coffins.
Sentenced to life behind bars.
In my view, the time has now come to end Mr. Kohberger's 15 minutes of fame. No parent should ever have to bury their child. This is the greatest tragedy that can be inflicted upon a person.
Kaylee Gonzalez, Madison Mogan, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. The loved ones of these 4 University of Idaho students met their killer in an Idaho courtroom for the first time since he admitted to their murders. Now, Brian Kohberger will spend the rest of his life in a prison cell. This morning, each family was given a chance to speak. For some of them, it was a time for forgiveness.
I pray that you come to the end of yourself. I pray that before this life is over, that you ask our Lord and Savior in your heart and to forgive you.
But for others, it was a time to ensure nothing went unsaid.
Disappointments like you thrive on pain, on fear, and on the illusion of power. And I won't feed your beast. Don't ever try to convince yourself you mattered just because someone finally said your name out loud.
In time, you will be nothing but 2 initials forgotten to the wind. No visitors, nothing more than initials on an otherwise unmarked tombstone.
We have team coverage tonight with new details about the investigation and more of that raw and powerful testimony from the courtroom. Let's begin there with King 5 Sebastian Robertson.
From vitriol to forgiveness, a total of 15 speakers addressed the court today, some in person, others in written statements. Most were aimed at Brian Kohberger directly.
Hand shackled and an inmate orange, Brian Kohberger sat devoid of emotion through hours of testimony, denouncing his admitted crimes and at times him personally.
He took the version of me who didn't constantly ask, what if it happens again? What if next time I don't survive?
For the first time, we heard from the 2 surviving roommates of 1122 King Road. Both were home at the time of the killings.
He is a hollow vessel, something less than human. A body without empathy, without remorse. He chose destruction. He chose evil. He feels nothing.
Family of Xana, Madison, and Kaylee all delivered victim impact statements. The family of Ethan Chapin did not attend the hearing. Rage came from the father of Kaylee Gonzalez.
You're not worth the time, the effort to be remembered. In time, you will be nothing but 2 initials forgotten to the wind.
Kaylee's big sister Olivia did not mince words, vowing to not let her anger feed a man she described as a beast.
Let me be very clear. Don't ever try to convince yourself you mattered just because someone finally said your name out loud. I see through you. You want the truth? Here's the one you'll hate the most. If you hadn't attacked them in their sleep, in the middle of the night, like a pedophile, Kaylee would have kicked your ass.
Among the raw emotions, there were moments of grace, notably from Xana's mother, who, through her faith, washed her hands of her daughter's killer.
Jesus has allowed me to forgive you for murdering my daughter without you even being sorry. This forgiveness has released me from any and all evil you have inflicted on me and my family.
Of note, the judge did not stop the proceedings at any point, allowing the victims to speak for as long as they needed. Before delivering his sentence, the judge says he hopes that Brian Kohberger's 15 minutes of fame is over. In Boise, I'm Sebastian Robertson.
Again, the parents of Ethan Chapin were not in the courtroom today. Ethan's mother, Stacy, shared this photo on social media, writing, quote, "We will carry your love, light, and laughter forever." Ethan called Conway, Washington home. Team coverage continues now with Jim Nelson, who spoke to those in Conway about the weight of today's sentencing.
In the last U.S. Census, the population here was just 87. You can imagine how tight this community is, and you can imagine the pain over the last 2.5 years felt by everyone. In Conway, Washington,
absolutely a small town.
Bad news travels quickly.
The death of these young college students, just hearing about it was horrific, and then finding out that someone from our community was part of it makes it even more painful.
That someone was Ethan Chapin, a triplet with Hunter and Maisie. They grew up here in this tiny Skagit County town.
Seriously impacted our community.
At the Conway pub.
Get you another Blue Moon?
I'm fine, thank you.
The Idaho murders are the talk of the lunch rush.
The big mystery is motive. What in the world?
That's the worst thing that any parent can imagine, I think.
Dennis Olson watched the Chapins grow up.
Yeah, well, I knew them starting from 4th grade. I referee basketball games, so I've known those kids since they were running around.
As they say around here, everybody knows everybody.
They're all good kids, but these kids were right among the best.
Which is why the killings hit so close to home. Why the Chapin family's pain was everyone's pain.
I remember the shock that the whole thing was, just a small community like this. And this is a very close community. I mean, the triplets have just been very impactful on Conway in a real positive way.
And on sentencing day, Dennis says he feels a sense of closure after 2.5 years.
Followed very closely, and I think that I'm going to agree with the Chapin family that says let's get this over with and let's be done with it. And I think that that's maybe the best way for the community and the Chapin family.
Ethan worked at a tulip farm in Mount Vernon. In tribute, his co-workers planted flowers in his memory. Just one example of how this entire area has propped the Chapin family up. In Conway, Jim Nelson, King 5 News.
New court documents were unsealed after the sentencing. King 5 investigator Chris Ingalls has been going through them and brings us the new details from the newsroom.
Now that the Kohberger criminal case is over and the gag order lifted, authorities are releasing documents. One is an interesting look at Kohberger's life behind bars, with one inmate calling him a weirdo, another calling him annoying. Police interviewed the inmate at the Latah County Jail in the cell next to Kohberger's. He called him intelligent and polite for the most part, but Kohberger quickly became annoying because of some of his habits. He would wash his hands dozens of times a day and would spend 45 minutes to an hour in the shower. Kohberger would be awake almost all night and nap during the day. Detectives asked the inmate if Kohberger ever lost his temper. The inmate was watching sports one time and said, "You suck," to one of the players on the team. Kohberger immediately got up and put his face to the bars and aggressively asked if the inmate was talking about him or his mother. Did the murder suspect ever mention anything about the crimes, detectives asked? The man said Kohberger did not mention his alleged offenses at all. A second batch of documents was released later in the day. They described the savage nature of some of Kohberger's crimes, including one victim who was stabbed in the face several times. This is the beginning of what we expect to be thousands of pages of documents released by authorities in Idaho. I'm Chris Ingalls in the King 5 newsroom.
There's still a question the families may never get answered. Why? Investigators still don't know. Kohberger only spoke 3 words at today's sentencing. When he was asked whether he wanted to say anything, he said, quote, "I respectfully decline." The Latah County prosecutor believes that was for the best.
I don't believe that there's anything that would come out of his mouth that would be the truth. I don't believe that there's anything that would come out of his mouth that would be anything other than self-serving. And I don't believe there's anything that would come out of his mouth that would not further victimize the families.
Our coverage continues right now on King 5 Plus. We take a closer look at the most powerful moments from today's sentencing. King 5 Plus is free to download on your TV. Right now, Tukwila police are investigating after a person went missing in the Duwamish River tonight. Crews say somebody was yelling for help and struggling right before they went underwater near the East Marginal Way Bridge. The search lasted about 90 minutes this evening, but they did not find that person.
I hope that you keep Donnie's spirit in your heart.
The search for justice echoed through the streets of Seattle's Chinatown International District tonight, exactly 10 years after community guardian Donnie Chin died a hero. King 5's Madeline Carter was there as the community returned to the neighborhood that he devoted his life to protect. She joins us now. Madeline, what stood out to you at tonight's memorial?
Well, Greg, the memorial marked Donnie Chin's legacy, but it also served as a reminder to the city of Seattle that his murder is still unsolved. 10 years have gone by, but for Donnie Chin's sister, July 23rd will never be easy.
He can help you do the right thing when you're not sure what to do.
On the anniversary of Donnie's death, she and the crowd gathered in the Chinatown International District's Canton Alley honored his spirit.
We had a lot of Chinatown kids come to the alley and hang out, and Donnie would, mentor them. He would discipline them.
Sharing stories about their protector, friend,
it's hard to believe it's been so long since he's been gone,
and honorary Seattle firefighter.
That was one of my first memories of him, was probably back in 2005. We came down here for like a stabbing, and Donnie was first on scene, and I was a brand new firefighter.
Fire Station 10, which responds most to Donnie's neighborhood, made shirts in his memory.
His call sign with the fire department was Dragon 1, and so he, in some ways, was watching over us.
A decade after Donnie Chin was gunned down in 2015 while responding to a 911 call.
The fact that the case is unsolved is really making the scar of his death stay open, or the wound stay open.
They heard from him, but on July 23rd, 2025, they still don't know who ended his life.
I'm not even sure if it'll ever be solved. I think that his honor and his memory deserves for the community to know what took him from us.
2 men seen on the night Donnie Chin was shot and killed were arrested on unrelated warrants. To this day, no one has been charged in his murder. Madeline Carter, King 5 News.
One person is seriously hurt after a stabbing on a Metro bus in Burien. Happened about 1:30 this afternoon near 124th and Ambon. Deputies say 2 passengers got into a fight. One stabbed the other. Police arrested the suspect. The man accused of a triple shooting in Renton now faces 3 counts of murder. 46-year-old Steve Vasquez is charged with shooting and killing his girlfriend. Court documents say he also shot and killed the woman's sister when she came to help, and the woman's 9-year-old daughter. One person in that home was able to get away and called police. Vasquez remains in jail with bail set at $10 million. He's expected to enter a plea next month.
Basically, you'll be homeless. Basically, you'll be homeless.
That's the message from a rideshare driver tonight as fees continue to climb. Still ahead, the concerns from the drivers union ahead of the FIFA World Cup. Also, day 1 is in the books at the VMAC. The takeaways from training camp as the Seahawks count down to the season opener.
And the warmest temperatures of the week are now behind us. Temperatures will be cooling into the next couple of days, and I'm keeping an eye on some clouds that will come and go. Details in your First Alert forecast.